Experience the epic series that the world is watching and raving about. Catch up or relive the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, now on HBO On Demand, and watch back-to-back episodes anytime on your schedule. This year, join the Legion of Followers and enjoy past seasons of Game of Thrones, plus the premiere of Season 4 on April 6th on HBO. Don't miss out. Sign up for HBO and get free access to HBO On Demand.
A senior hotel exec says the gaming bill delay is costing Bahamians new jobs. Convicted murderer Ginaldo Farrington sentenced to life in prison. Police investigate a murder in Mason's Addition, plus electronically monitored suspects to be banned from the World Relays. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Monique Toot, and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, a senior hotel executive has warned that government's delay in passing the gaming bill is delaying the creation of new jobs for Bahamians, and expressed hope that the Christie administration would rethink its decision to bog down the bill with the controversial regulation of web shops. President and Managing Director of Atlantis Paradise Island, George Antonis, says he is disappointed the process is taking this long, adding the resort is counting on the gaming bill being passed in early July.
I think the delay in the gaming bill is probably costing a few jobs. Not so much costing jobs, but it's delaying new hires.
In an interview with NB12, Antonis said there are many things in the gaming bill that are not controversial and can allow Atlantis to move the country forward. For instance, he says Atlantis wants to build private gaming rooms which would attract high-end clientele and create up to 30 new jobs for Bahamians.
We have the capital expenditures, the funds put aside, ready to build those. We've done our layouts. We're in the middle of design. But we can't fire the gun to build them until the gaming regulations are approved. Well, first of all, it affects business because we can then draw some business that's not coming here. Secondly, we don't have private gaming rooms today. That's easily another 20 to 30 people, 20 to 30 positions that are created.
Antonis says new employees would be needed to man the private gaming rooms and work in their private dining room, bar, and bathrooms. If the gaming bill is passed by July, he says the new facility, which is expected to cost between $5 and $7 million, would be ready by December 1st. Government's plan to regulate web shop gaming has contributed to the bill's delay. However, the Atlantis president says by combining the two issues, government is making the bill more complicated.
I wish that the gaming bill had not got bogged down with the issue of the legalization or regularization or whatever of web shops. I would say to them, separate the two issues. We are tying down 17 imminently logical transformations for our gaming industry because of one extremely complicated subject, the web shops.
Bahamar's Senior Vice President of Administration and External Affairs Robert Sands said recently it is very important the bill be passed by the end of June or early July. Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe, who has responsibility for gaming, said last month he still hopes to have the gaming bill passed by early July and added he understands casino operators' frustration. Antonis says he thinks government is aware of the need for speed.
If it is July, that'll be in time for us, just in time for us to take the measures we need before our next prime gaming season, which will be around Christmas.
The gaming bill would introduce an entirely new mobile and online gaming segment to casinos' gaming offerings, allowing the Bahamas to tap into what is projected to be a $100 billion industry globally. What if the gaming bill isn't passed by July, though?
We won't be ready by Christmas, so that's fine. Then we'll only be ready by March, April next year.
And that's a huge setback.
Well, it's not a huge setback, it's a setback. The way people succeed is by being nimble. There is nothing worse. than being a procrastinator. And I'd like to think that we at this property do not procrastinate.
From the courts, convicted murderer Ginaldo Farrington escaped the death penalty but was sentenced to life in prison for the February 2012 shooting death of banker Stephen Sherman. Justice Roy Jones today sentenced him to life in prison on one count of conspiracy to commit murder, life in prison for one count of murder, and 30 years for 2 counts of armed robbery. Those sentences will run concurrently. Farrington faced the death penalty or life imprisonment. Justice Jones noted that while Sherman's death was a heinous, premeditated, and ruthless contract murder that caused hardship to his family, his killer is a 24-year-old with no previous convictions and no infractions since his imprisonment. Jones also noted that while Farrington was expelled from school in grade 11, he has been described as quiet and respectable. Jones said while Farrington never showed remorse and continuously denied killing Sherman, he is still a young man. Farrington's lawyer Muriel Ducille says an appeal will be filed forthwith.
Because our position has always been that this is innocent. He professes his innocence even up to this point, and the psychiatrists and the probation officers have agreed that the fact that no remorse has been shown is not inconsistent with the fact that one professes one's innocence. So that's the position. One has got to respect the system. The jury has found him guilty. So if there's a grievance, well, we'll take it elsewhere so it can be dealt with.
Stephen Sherman, an assistant manager at the Royal Bank of Canada in Palmdale, was shot in the head when he pulled up to his Yamacross Shores home on the evening of February 17, 2012. The killer took his cell phone before shooting him at point-blank range in the head, according to evidence presented at the trial. Sherman's brother, Greg, says the family was hoping Farrington would get the death penalty, but they are now one step closer to closure.
We all wanted death, but life in prison, and for the 2 counts, we're satisfied with that. Life in prison on the 2 counts, and then 15 years for the armed robbery. So we're quite satisfied.
Sherman says it's been rough since his brother's death.
I don't want to just say that my brother was a good person. He really was, and trust me, every place I walk, every place we go, I mean the accolades just continue to pour in. People all over Facebook, all over the world, they can't believe that such a good man has his life was just snuffed out like that.
His widow, Renee Sherman, Farrington, and Cordero Bethel were charged with conspiring to commit murder. However, Sherman and Bethel were acquitted on the judge's direction at the close of the prosecution's case. The directed acquittal has been appealed. A 20-year-old man is dead after he was allegedly shot in the back of the head on Saxon's Way in Mason's Addition last night. Homicide detectives and uniformed officers searched the scene for evidence and at one point had to defuse a tense situation.
No, listen. No. We ain't waiting here. Go behind the line for me. Just go behind the line. Turn around. Just go behind the line for me. She can be all right. Listen.
I just talked him too. I was gonna tell me, girl, because you're not friends.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson says police received reports of gunshots being fired in the area after 9 p.m.
Upon examination of the responding officers and as personnel, it was discovered that the deceased was shot to the back portion of the head. We have an active homicide investigation ongoing.
The Assistant Commissioner says police have no motive as their investigation is still in the early stages. However, he says he is encouraged by the cooperation they've been receiving from residents of Mason's Addition.
Members of the public have been responding quite nicely to the police investigation, and we are encouraged by the efforts of the Bahamian people, and we have no doubt that the Bahamian people in Mason Addition who have information in connection with this matter will come forward, and we are looking forward to those persons coming forward.
That murder came one day after Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage reported that authorities were seeing a systematic decrease in crime. Meantime, wanted suspect Joseph Etienne is in hospital under heavy police guard tonight after officers shot him in the right thigh. On Wednesday, officers went to an apartment on West Bay Street in search of Etienne, who allegedly confronted them with a knife as they entered the apartment. Officers say they shot him because they feared for their lives. Etienne is in stable condition. More than 100 police officers hit the streets of the capital today as part of beefed-up mobile patrols. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Seymour headed the convoy as it left police headquarters this afternoon. The officers are heightening patrols in key areas where major crimes have occurred since January. Superintendent Stephen Dean says the intense patrols are part of the commissioner's plan to clamp down on crime.
We believe that as time progresses, many people will see the benefits of these results. What is happening out there? Many members of the public are talking about the fear of crime. We believe that increased police presence, increased police patrol will eliminate that fear on a daily basis. Crime will always be us to a certain degree, but we believe we could bring it to a manageable level, and this is one of the initiatives. So what you'll be seeing over the next couple of days is a number of the initiatives. We have the urban renewal, we have the saturation patrol.
Dean says they selected officers from various departments of the force.
These officers have specific areas to patrol. They have various grid, and that comes under the umbrella of what we talk about our most celebrated saturation patrol. That is intended that officers stay in a certain area for X amount of period of time to ensure that no action happens in that area.
The public can expect to see more saturation patrols over the next few days.
We are putting a clarion call out to criminal elements who are hell-bent on breaking the law, that the police will be aggressive in their approach. Those persons who are committing crime, who have not been captured yet, please, in short order, we will be visiting you.